Sunny Saturday afternoon here in Stony Brook. However, the wind has been very strong here on Long Island. And again, it's a fairly cool temperature-wise. The sun is out, and the fans here at Stony Brook are hoping that there is some FCS playoff magic like there was when they had the first-round game here last year, John. Last year, the Seawolves had to rally and come back and win that game to get to the second round. That is where their FCS playoff season ended, when they lost to San Houston State. Andy Talley, the longtime head coach for Villanova, and again, a great FCS playoff resume. Again, this is the year, though, that they didn't think they were going to be back in this FCS playoff pool, but they're here now, and they're going to try to make some noise today here at Stony Brook.
Well, they've got a lot of experience when you talk about the FCS playoffs. You mentioned a national championship, so experience on that side. But Stony Brook, as far as this game goes, a lot more veteran players on the football team. Villanova's going to have to grow up again. They did it this year, but can they do it in the playoffs?
Stony Brook wins the coin toss, and they decline to take the football. So Stony Brook is going to kick off wearing their home black and red jerseys. Villanova in the road white. And Wesley Skiffington will kick off into the sun. And the kick is caught at the 5-yard line, as Javon White will not do much with it. In fact, he probably loses a few yards on that kickoff return. So Villanova rolls into their offensive unit. John Robertson, the freshman quarterback, ready to light a fire under this Wildcats offense and try to get things rolling on the first possession of this football game. But field position is not very Wildcat friendly, starting at their own 5. And a short run on first down for maybe about 4 yards, as Robertson, again, a good touchdown to interception ratio. John, what do we know about him?
Well, we know that he's a very talented player, and that he didn't even start the first game of this football season, and he's worked his way in the lineup and actually became Offensive Rookie of the Year in the CAA. So very talented player. Watch for him to use his legs to pick up a lot of ground today.
And he'll throw on second down, a deep throw that is too high, intended for the leading receiver in this group, Norman White. And let's take a look at this Wildcat offense. Here's their skilled players. Again, Monangai is the guy who carries a lot of the offensive load for them. And Price and Miles are good in the passing game up front. 3 sophomores in the middle for this Villanova team. And some experience on the ends with Vogel and Bucci. So 3rd down and 6. On Villanova's opening drive of this football game, they're at the 9-yard line. And Robertson's got a little time to throw, and a tight throw and a completion. A hard hit forces White out of bounds, but it's good for a Wildcats first down. That was a very well thrown ball.
Well, you could see throwing. A lot of wind out there today, and if you have that for quarterback's best friend is a nice spiral, and he was able to deliver a strike to the outside. And Norman White, a guy that we'll mention an awful lot today. He leads the team in receptions this year, so he's a guy that this quarterback's going to look for if they're going through the air.
Ball spotted at the 27-yard line. 1st and 10, Villanova. And they go the other direction and get a little bit of yardage on first down, but not much. Let's look at that Stony Brook defense. And here's the front 4. Hodder, the only sophomore in that group. Linebacking group is pretty solid with upperclassmen all the way through. Mulrooney's a big hitter there on the far side. And then that secondary, a lot of good experience. Reyes is the leading tackler in the Stony Brook secondary. 2nd down and 5. And they will hand off and run wide. And they get a little bit of running room out there. Villanova's offense starting to put some things together with Wells' positive yardage. Another Villanova first down.
Villanova certainly likes to spread the field a little bit different than what Stony Brook will come out on their offensive side. Villanova will spread it out, try to get those quick throws to the outside, try to make things happen a little faster than Stony Brook offensively.
They brought Aaron Wells from around in on the previous play. This play turns into pretty much not much. Monangai the carry, but we have yet to see him unleash his big play potential so far on Villanova's first series. 2nd down and 4, though, as the Wildcats move towards midfield. And here's Monangai trying to get outside, but Stony Brook is right there to contain him and make it a loss.
Winston Longden right here comes up fighting on the corner. You can see it forcing him to bounce it outside. Get great pursuit by the cornerback to the outside there. Wrap him up. Don't let him go. Kevin Monangai, you mentioned, last 5 football games over 100 yards. So he's going to get his yards, but you have to corral him when you have an opportunity. Good open field tackle on the outside by a cornerback.
So a passing down here for Villanova. They had a long completion to get a 1st down earlier. Now this is 3rd and 7. Lots of time for Robertson, and it is dropped. Stony Brook getting a break there with Price, your intended receiver. And the incompletion brings out the punting unit for Villanova.
John Robertson will say that he should have thrown this a little bit ahead of the receiver, had plenty of time to throw the football, but no, he may not say that. What he's going to say is his receiver needs to come down with that football. Joe Price knows he should have had that, and that would have been a big pickup for this Villanova offense, but they were very successful getting out of that area, and now they win the field position battle first off.
So Villanova will punt. And Stony Brook sends Devontae Anderson on the field, but there is no return, and a great cover there by Villanova on special teams. Stony Brook will start inside their own 5-yard line.
Wow, and how was that for flipping the football field around, starting on the 2, going to the other 2. So see here, great effort on special teams. You need that. This is going to be a close football game. Special teams can very well win it for you. Great hustle down the field and great coverage by Villanova's punt team.
Kudos to Shane Harris, who made the play there. And here is the quarterback situation as it evolves for Stony Brook. Lyle Negron is their starting quarterback today, in for Kyle Essington, who's out with that leg contusion. So inexperience a factor here. Let's see how he handles it. They run on 1st down and get a couple of yards. As we take a look at the Stony Brook offense and their skilled players. Norrell and Gush are the 2 wideouts that may get touches. Masonette, of course, carries a whole lot of load on offense for them. And the offensive line for Stony Brook looks like this. Hernandez and Bamiro on the ends, opening up big holes. This is 2nd down and 8. They roll Negron, and he throws, and it's complete out to about the 10-yard line. Chris Fenelon is the receiver there. And there's your sideline shot of Kyle Essington, injured in their game against Liberty a couple weeks ago. He just couldn't get comfortable in practice this week, and coaches deciding really today, John, to sit him out of this FCS first-round playoff game.
Yeah, we were very surprised. We knew nothing about this just before kickoff, but Essington, the nation leader in passing efficiency, does that hurt a football team? Absolutely, because they've got such a great running game. When you complement that with that efficient passing game, that's what makes Stony Brook's offense move.
Ball just inside the 10-yard line, and they will run, and they will not get much. A little bit of yardage there. And it's going to bring up 3rd down and 2. Or they would get the 1st down. It was close, and Stony Brook's able to get the 1st down and move the chains.
Well, when you look at Lyle Negron right there, the kind of the book on him is he actually has a stronger arm than Essington. Transfer from junior college out of Bakersfield, California, and a guy that can run with his feet a little bit. They say he's got good speed and good legs, but they say a better, stronger, no, maybe not a better arm, but a stronger arm than Essington.
Ball at the 12. This is a handoff to Marcus Coker, the transfer from Iowa. who doesn't get much on that first down carry. Let's take a look at Villanova. Their defensive scheme a little different. 3 in the front with Johnson, Lewis, and Malone. They have 3 linebackers in the middle, and then they have 5 secondary players. So they are pretty deep in that secondary. You don't see that scheme very often. And that secondary may not be tested as much today with this backup Lyle Negron in at quarterback for Stony Brook. And the flag is thrown late, but it looked very early like Villanova jumped. Antoine Lewis is going to get Stony Brook 5 yards without even moving the football.
And that puts a young quarterback in a better situation here. Always second, third down and short puts them in a situation here where they can actually go for something a little bit deeper, maybe try to back up this Villanova defense early in this football game. You always have the opportunity to run it successfully on third down here, so watch for maybe something big off of play action for this play.
Donnell Leathers is our official today here in Long Island. 2nd down and 1 from the 21. First offensive possession for the Seawolves, and here's a big run that gets another first down. Good blocking for Masonette. And the tackle not enough to stop the first down as the Seawolves work out of that bad field position, John, inside their own 5-yard line.
Boy, and that's what great running games will do for a football team. You're down, backed up by your goal line, able to run the football out. So key to be able to just give yourself some breathing room to do some things. And Masonette, just turn around and give him the ball. That guy's so powerful, and they've got a great combination in Coker, the transfer from Iowa.
Ball at the 27-yard line. They'll throw, and a throw behind the intended receiver goes incomplete. Villanova was thinking they might be able to make a move on that. Kevin Norrell, the leading receiver, was the intended receiver, but a sharp ball, but not well thrown.
And you have to assume with Kyle Essington in the football game that that's possibly a complete. An easy throw to the outside that time for Negron. He's got to make that completion. Just got to settle down, get into the rhythm of the football game. He was able to get that first completion. Just needs to settle down and let the game come to him.
2nd down and 10. Coker's going to run with a big hole and a first down and then some out to the 40-yard line. Coker with speed and power showcased on that run.
Absolutely. You're talking about a guy 6 foot, 230 pounds, a guy that rushed for over 2,000 yards at Iowa, 18 touchdowns, and you can see the size. And at the end, he doesn't want to go down. He's got to keep fighting. That's a guy with a lot of experience, a lot of size, and you think about that. He's not even in the starting lineup for this Stony Brook team when you're talking about Masonette on offense.
Ball just shy of the 40 at the 39. Stony Brook on the move on their first possession of this FCS playoff first round game. And here's another power run as Coker's going to do it again, this time into Villanova territory for another first down.
Well, pretty good recipe there. Bring Marcus Coker in here and let him just pound on you for a while. Then Masonette bring in his ability to make people miss, and you can see the physicality of this guy. I love this offense. Goes kind of old school. Goes back 2 tight ends in there. Sometimes they'll put 3 tight ends in. Not afraid to run the football. You know it's going to happen. And they're saying, try to stop us.
That's a 14-yard get, and the Seawolves are working well on offense. Here's Masonette. Another big hole, and he just keeps plowing forward inside the 40. Davon Bridges on the tackle, but the offensive line starting to really do some damage for Stony Brook, John.
Yeah, take a look at the center, Mike Lisi, as he comes to the outside, gets a nice block there. It's not just the running backs. This offensive line does a great job zone blocking to the outside. They're very, very active with their guards. They'll pull their guards. They'll make things happen with their center, just like they did on the last play.
Ball at the 39-yard line. Fumbled snap, And Negron just tries to run ahead with it, but that play was not going to develop into anything. But Negron fortunately had good blocking, so it wasn't hard for him to retrieve that football.
Dangerous again, young quarterback, getting used to that. You wonder if that particular play, again, second and short, if they were going for something big up top and he got a little carried away. Negron pulling out from underneath the center a bit early.
So it's now 3rd down and 1. He actually picked up a yard to move the football to the 38-yard line. This is Coker, and he falls ahead. Looks like he has enough for a 1st down. Patrick Haggerty on the stop, but Coker able to bring enough. And I think it's close enough for a measurement.
Yeah, they're going to do it that time. Coker, that play was designed to go a little bit outside. The right guard, Cody Preck, number 75, was actually pulling that time and actually knocked him off, Coker, off his own particular run that time, but he was able to know where that 1st down marker is and try to get that extra yard.
Now, John, you've got FCS playoff experience on your football resume. Can you imagine the anxiety for Lyle Negron coming into this football game, having to lead your team in the 1st round of the FCS playoffs? What was his mindset, would your guess be?
Well, it's funny. I thought about that same particular situation. 1987, we played for the national championship, Marshall University. I was redshirted that year, but I was a backup quarterback. Had he got hurt in that game, I would have ruined an entire redshirt year and played that last game of the year. So I know it's going through his mind.
And he has played well. Again, he's had a good running game to lean on. So that's important for Stony Brook's success here. And Coker will keep pushing those legs. The gang tackle stops him, led by Joe Sarnice. And they get enough for the 1st down on 4th and 1. That was a dicey play for Stony Brook. Really, they could have used their punting team and taken maybe a field position approach, but they went for it and they moved the chain. And
that's how much confidence they have in this run game, and especially Coker when needed to pick up that 1 yard at 230 pounds. They feel like he can do that.
It's a 12-play, 62-yard drive right now for Stony Brook. And they will run and run wide. And Masonette is met with authority outside the 35-yard line, stopped by Davon Bridges.
Again, take a look from behind here. Watch the offensive line. The entire left side and right side are moving almost a hash mark. If you had the ball in the right hash mark, by the time the running back actually crosses the line of scrimmage, that entire team may be on the opposite hash. So good zone blocking. They know how to work in tandem. They've got a lot of experience working together. It's a very good football team up front.
This is Masonette, met in the backfield by Ronnie Akins. Akins not a high-profile player, but he is their 2nd leading tackler, and he makes a big one there for a loss.
Yeah, not a high-profile guy, but a guy who'll get things done. One of the captains on the team, but not from a vocal standpoint, but go in there and do that. Villanova now starting to crunch the line of scrimmage a little bit. They had all 11 players that time within 7 yards of the line of scrimmage. And finally, Stony Brook has opened it up with 3 wide receivers this time.
So it's 3rd and 9. And they're going to run and run wide. And Coker cannot stay in bounds. Not sure how close he got to the 1st down marker. Not close. They did get a 1st down, so Coker able to get just enough, tiptoeing up the sideline here.
Again, look at the offensive line guys coming around, leading the way for Coker. He's got a lot of talent, but again, when you're talking about guys that are 230, 280 pounds coming out there and leading away against small defensive backs, they're getting big guys on small guys.
So they're still pushing at the Villanova 26-yard line. And here's a big open hole for Coker inside the 25. The blocking up front is exceptional for Stony Brook.
Yeah, and the blocking, you're going to keep talking about that all night. They just work in great tandem up front there, and what they've really done is chewed up so much of this clock. 3:10 to go in this first quarter. If you kind of designed a game plan around this, not having your starting quarterback in there, you want that running game to take over, and they've really used up a lot of this time and really been so efficient offensively.
So Kyle Essington watching from the sidelines, and his replacement, Lyle Negron, has operated this offense very well. 2nd and 6, and this is Masonette. Down to the 20-yard line, Antoine Lewis on the Villanova stop, but boy, the ground game is as good as advertised for the Seawolves.
And they continue to go with it. Again, in a situation there, your quarterback may be in a throwing situation. You have the young guy in there, hasn't had a whole lot of experience throwing the ball this year. Came out of junior college, you mentioned, so had plenty of time there, but hasn't gotten his feet wet very often this year. Matter of fact, just 5 attempts coming into this football game. So, you know, they want to get into the red zone, calm them down, and make it very manageable on 3rd down.
3rd and 3 from the 19-yard line. And they'll roll out. And a hard throw and a tough catch. A flag is down. Catch is made on the side by Kevin Norrell, and he's driven out of bounds. Jerry Miles on the cover, but we'll see what this flag was. Actually, flags on both sides of the field. So Villanova hurting themselves with the personal foul and offside. So kind of a double whammy for the Wildcats. And this is not the opening drive that Andy Talley was hoping for from his defense. Ball at the 14-yard line as the Seawolves try to get the first points in this first-round FCS playoff game. And the handoff is to Masonette. Not much room on the far side, and a strong contingent of tacklers force him back, led by Davon Bridges.
And once you get into the red zone, a little bit more difficult there running the football. Villanova's defensive backs not having to cover a whole lot, or afraid people are going to get behind him. They're able to come up to the line of scrimmage a little bit more. And one of the things Stony Brook is very successful with offensively is play action. And with the running game they have, that's what makes it successful. And down here, you have to watch for tight ends and guys down the middle of the football team with play action.
This is Coker on the handoff, a power run up the middle, and he gets inside the 10-yard line. Jerry Miller on the stop. And looks like our first quarter may finish here with Stony Brook still pushing deep into Villanova territory. Seawolves are content to let this play clock go down to 0-0 and end the first quarter by going in the other direction. But they are in good field position and in good shape. The Seawolves on the move. Our second quarter when we come back to Long Island. Welcome back to Laval Stadium here in Stony Brook. The sun has gone behind the clouds. The wind remains very, very strong. And Stony Brook continues to manhandle the football. Time of possession very much skewed in their favor. Not a warm day here on Long Island, and it's pretty cold for Villanova as they're trying to get the football back, but Stony Brook will have none of that.
No, and with the cold, they're trying to get them out of here early. I think that was the fastest first quarter they may have been a part of in 15 years of football, so that's amazing.
It's been buzzing by here, and Stony Brook will start this second quarter with the football. A 3rd and 5 on the Villanova 9-yard line. And Lyle DeGrone has gotten very comfortable at quarterback, filling in for Kyle Essington, the starting QB, out with a leg contusion. And they'll go Wildcat and snap to Masonette, who gets down to the 1, and not quite enough for a touchdown for Stony Brook. Matt McCann on the tackle that denied Stony Brook the touchdown. They show Wildcat and run it effectively with Masonette.
Well, this offense will give you so many different looks. I told you they don't spread people out very often. They'll use the 3 tight ends. That time going to Wildcat, they'll just give you a bunch of different looks. They'll run the same plays, but a lot of them will be out of different looks.
At the 1-yard line. Hand off to Masonette, and there is room for him to get in for a touchdown. Masonette owns just about every rushing record possible here at Stony Brook, and he gets the Seawolves on the board with their first touchdown here.
Well, Masonette gets the touchdown here, but you got to give a lot of credit to Coker for getting him down into that end zone, or close to the end zone, then bring in your star and Masonette and add another touchdown to that career total. But a lot of that goes to Marcus Coker and the big yards he picked up on that entire drive.
Skiffington hits the point after. We're back for more second quarter football in a moment from Stony Brook. Second quarter football continues here from Stony Brook, Laval Stadium. And a very, very long touchdown drive capped off by the 1-yard Masonette run. And finally, Villanova can go back on offense. As you can see, the wind is a very prominent factor here, with the wind blowing the ball off the tee. Flags are getting a workout today, and they're going to hold the football down. So Skiffington can get this kickoff. Kick at the 15-yard line for White, who's going to try to run wide, and he will not get far. Strong tackle there for Stony Brook by Jamie Williams. Villanova football when we come back to Long Island. Villanova working on offense, trailing 7-0 here at Stony Brook. Robertson will run with Monangai on first down, who gets wide and then is pushed out at about the 25-yard line. Here's the hit on the kickoff. This is a prime-time pop by Jamie Williams, and look at the sideline reaction. Stony Brook pumped up after that hit. Ball moves 5 yards to the Stony Brook 25-yard line, and this play is blown dead. Seawolves take a timeout, and we'll take one too here. Second quarter football here at Stony Brook. The Seawolves lead Villanova. The Wildcats trying to spark up their offense, trailing 7-0 in this first round FCS playoff game. A sharp throw complete to Norman White, very close to a first down for the Wildcats. Cedric Moore on the cover and the tackle. Dan Gutowski and John Gregory here on Long Island. John, one and done time in the college football season. The FCS playoffs have a different kind of feel than a traditional bowl game. What is that like for a player when you get a chance to participate in this game the way that you did?
Yeah, it's a great feeling, and the preparation that you put in during that week, knowing that you can go on and have a chance to play one more time. It's just a great feeling to have that opportunity and get there, and these teams look forward to getting out here and getting this opportunity to play in this thing, because you know when it's all said and done, there's a national champion, and I think we're going to get to that in all kinds of football levels, regardless of where we are.
So they try to set this up. It looked like Norman White wanted to throw, but Stony Brook's coverage with Devontae Anderson was so tight. That play never really developed.
No, and Norman White, not a guy that's going to surprise you, that's going to catch the football, as I mentioned, leading the team in reception, 12.9 yard average every time he touches the football. And here's a guy that was all CAA in 2010. Missed last year because of some injuries, but he's been back with vengeance this year.
2nd and 14, and Robertson's got to roll away from pressure. And how about this big run? Still going. Forced out at midfield, but a play that looks like nothing turns into a whole lot of something.
Now at the very top, we talked about Monangai there. Tailback with 1,190 yards on the year. Well, 936 from this quarterback. As I mentioned, did not start the first game of the season, came in the second half against Temple in the first game and hasn't looked back since. And player of the year because of that reason right there. His legs can make things happen for Villanova's offense.
That is a 25-yard pickup. And how about a good run here from Monangai to follow up and keep Villanova's offense moving down the field. Let's take a look at our FCS playoff brackets as things stand now. One game you can see at the bottom of your screen there. Wagner a winner over Colgate. So the home team wins that one. And Wagner moves on to play the number 2 seed Eastern Washington. That will be next Saturday. Also on ESPN3. A keeper for Robertson, but not especially well executed.
That was executed in a fashion I think it needed to be because of Wells. That when you talk about their running back that time, his job in that zone read offense right there, he's looking at the defense. Can the guy tackle the guy with the ball carrier? Well, yes, he can, but there were other big red helmets, plenty of red helmets around the football that time. Villanova loves to run that zone read. They've got a great quarterback that can do that, and if you're going to attack the running back, he's going to hold the football, and you need other guys to help you and support defensively.
This is 3rd down and 1 at the 39. They're going to run, and they're going to get stopped. Jonathan Coates. Normally he wears number 92, but today he is 97. We'll explain the jersey switch later, but John, that's a great stop.
Well, penetration right across the center here. You see him, he just follows it. Pulling centers, pulling guards. You got to get a reach block back from the backside that time. He did not get it. And you mentioned Coates, a guy with 6.5 tackles coming for loss coming into this football game, gets another one.
So Mark Hamilton comes on to punt. Stony Brook with their returner set. That's Jordan Gush, and they fake and try to gamble on 4th down, and it's pretty good, but not enough. And we've got a Villanova player injured. Not serious, though, as they get helped up. But the play execution doesn't come through for the Wildcats.
No, good design there as actually was happening from the press box here. It looked like he probably could get that 1st down. Then they were able to close on it. You can see here, a great look, but a better tackle. Something going for yourself offensively.
Handoff is to Coker. And they don't get a whole lot. And again, got to keep reminding everybody, if you're looking for Kyle Essington, the normal starting quarterback for Stony Brook, a game day decision. He is held out with a leg contusion. Basically, that's glorified deep thigh bruise. It's possible he could come back next week if they win, but he just wasn't comfortable moving on it in practice this week, and that's why you're seeing Lyle Negron managing this Stony Brook offense. And managing it very well. Power up the middle, not quite enough blocking there for Masonette as he goes down, courtesy of Davon Bridges. Little background on Stony Brook here on Long Island in the Big South Conference, but they are moving on and playing in the Colonial Athletic Association next year. And a lot of success here for head coach Chuck Priori. Last year they got to the second round of the FCS playoffs before losing to the #1 seeded Sam Houston State team. And they're trying to make sure they get into this year's second round with a win today. Here's Negron on the rollout, and he just floats it out of bounds. And he gets hit pretty hard, too. Good coverage in the secondary. Ronnie Aikens was the one who came up to put some pressure on Negron.
Now Aikens continues to come off the edge pretty quickly, and Negron doing a good job here getting rid of the football. You want to try to do it a little bit sooner before you're going to take that contact that time, but play action fake so far for Stony Brook has been the bootleg action, some type of nakeds off of that play action fake. They may have to go with these hard guys coming off the corner, may look to drop back a little bit more and use some traditional play action straight back.
Second down and 10 right at midfield. This is Coker. He'll redirect and pick up about 5 yards. Aikens on the tackle. And the luxury for Negron is to have that running game, that 1-2 combo. Masonette and Coker picking up pretty good chunks of yardage. And again, time of possession. Not always a huge factor, but boy, John, in this game, it's been big.
Yeah, you look around college football across the country, everybody throwing the football, spreading it out so much. Defenses get no rest. Stony Brook's offense may get too much rest.
And before this play develops, flags on both sides of the field. John, coaches are always looking for ways to change their defensive scheme when things aren't working well, but this is going to be hard for Villanova with the rushing game that Stony Brook has. They're just getting beat at the line of scrimmage, and it's pretty hard to change things to resolve that.
Yeah, well, you mentioned that defense they have, a 3-3-5 defense. It's designed to get your fast guys on the field, a little bit smaller guys when you're talking about cornerbacks and safeties in there. So they don't have those guys up front and the linebackers to be able to stuff this type of run. Really a different type of offense than most teams are playing these days.
The penalty makes it 3rd and short. And a fumbled football, it's on the turf, and Villanova's got a chance to cover it. Still loose. Stony Brook somehow is able to jump on it, but let's see who covers it there. It looks like Kevin Norell is at the bottom of that pile. Boy, that ball was gift wrapped for Villanova. All they had to do was fall on it.
Yeah, a couple of times you hear the word scoop and score. Well, there's opportunities right here. One opportunity, scoop and score. It was not there, and then kicked a little bit, and because of that, now Stony Brook's going to have a chance to punt the ball away, but Villanova doing what they needed to do and almost creating that turnover defensively.
Eric Loper had 2 chances to secure the football.
In that particular set, I'd say creating a turnover, that was actually a mixed handoff by the quarterback and the running back not being on the same page here, and that's what actually created the turnover that time.
So the Wildcats are going to have no return on this short punt down inside the 30-yard line. Second quarter football, Villanova on offense when we come back to Stony Brook. Villanova's FCS playoff experience has been very, very good the last few years. This goes back December 18th, 2009. Villanova against Montana. Mark Mariani, the 24-yard touchdown catch, and then Matt Caesar rushing for 2 touchdowns at 159 yards. Villanova comes out on top, 23-21 for their first FCS title. And Andy Talley's hoping that there's a little bit of FCS playoff magic this year. This team not as experienced, not as, maybe doesn't have quite the skill level that he's had in years past, but he knows this team is on the rise, ready to return to prominence.
Yeah, nice to have that guy, and Matt Caesar too, a guy that really could run the football. I remember watching that game, how aggressive he was and how he liked to hit the holes, but you need players like that, and they certainly have them, and Villanova's growing. It's a very young team, as we mentioned before, but they've grown an awful lot from winning 2 games last year to getting back in the playoffs this year. A big surprise compared to where they were picked in this conference coming into the season.
Christian Ricard on that tackle. Monangai could not bounce outside. And Villanova not wanting to waste this opportunity with the football. 3rd down and 3 at their own 36-yard line. Robertson, the empty backfield. Pressure. He throws and he almost completes it. A good look to Norman White, but White just couldn't quite hang on to it. Cedric Moore helping on the coverage to deny that play from being a completion.
Boy, you can see the penetration. Stony Brook, not a team that likes to blitz a whole lot. You'll line up in a base defense most of the time, but they'll surprise you sometime. If you're not scouting them, they'll send some. That time, they had Brantley in there, the opportunity to get to him in a hurry.
Gush is deep for Stony Brook. Remember, Villanova tried a little trickery earlier. This time, they'll just punt away. And Gush calls for a fair catch, and he'll take it at the Stony Brook 14-yard line. 1 touchdown is all we've got so far. The Seawolves have it. We're back for more. Kyle DeGrone leading the charge. Kyle Essington out for at least this game with that leg contusion. And again, the running game has carried Stony Brook to the 7-0 lead. A 1-yard touchdown run is the only points we've had in this football game. 1st and 10 from the 15-yard line. And they will hand off and run on 1st down. Masonette gets a big burst, and he is into the secondary for a huge run all the way into Villanova territory, and a late flag with Masonette down at the 40-yard line, tackled by Craig James.
That was just a matter of time before you actually got to see the speed of Masonette. We've seen the pounding of Coker, and now the opportunity to see why Masonette is leading the FCS with 1,721 yards coming into this football game.
And Villanova, the face mask penalty to boot, and let's see how this play develops.
Mentioned tight ends that time, 2 of them opening up a big block right there. 3 tight ends that time, and you can clearly see the face mask at the very end. But take a look at the hole he gets, and that's the tight ends blocking and open that up to the inside. We talked about the guards pulling and what they can do and the athletic ability of this line. Well, we combine that with some good tight end blocking, and again, great success running the ball.
That's a good tackle from behind by James to stop what probably would have been a Stony Brook touchdown. Ball at the 23-yard line. The handoff is to Coker. He's going to bounce out wide and stay up and get down to about the 16. Joe Sarnice on the stop, but what a 1-2 combination. When, you know, a runner like Masonette runs a long run, he's going to be taken out for a breather. They come right back with Coker, the junior transfer from Iowa, wanting to come back here because he wanted to play a little closer to home for him, which is Bellsville, Maryland.
Yeah, you're talking about a guy that rushed for over 1,300 yards as a sophomore at Iowa. So the success he had there, you can imagine what he could have at this level. And it's a great combination when you can bring his size in at 230 pounds and then bring Masonette in there with his speed. And he's not a light guy at 210. He can run the football. He's got great size at 5'10", 210.
There's the numbers on Coker. Dylan Lucas stops that run, so a short run as Coker switches out with Masonette on 3rd and 1. Masonette on the handoff, speed to the outside, and he will score the touchdown from 14 yards out. Power and speed right there for a Stony Brook score.
Take a look at behind. Watch number 75. You can see him pulling out here. Watch the block he gets right here. That, along with blocking from the wide receivers down the field. But Cody Preck The right guard does a great job coming out there and opening up that hole. Again, the pulling guards for this football team do such a tremendous job of getting those white shirts on the ground. Great block by the guard.
Skiffington on for the point after a long scoring drive. This one moved quicker than the first one because of some long Stony Brook runs on the ground. A 14-0 lead here for the Seawolves. First quarter FCS playoff action as we continue. Work with. A little over 3 minutes left as they get nothing on the return. But John, let's go back to that touchdown. How exciting for a runner when he sees that huge hole in front of him.
Yeah, again, watch that right guard as he pulls right here. Cody Preck, just a sophomore, 6'3", 300 pounds, and his ability to run on the outside. He gets out there, finds the guy he needs, and cuts him down. And boy, as a running back, you just love seeing that hole right there. But he's going to go back and hug that offensive lineman because they are doing a tremendous job for these running backs.
Ball at the 19-yard line. Mason it with both scores in this football game. And Austin Medley, your ball carrier on first down. Stopped by Leston Simpson, but a good chunk pickup for the Wildcats.
Now, no reason to panic for this Villanova offense right now. Everything that's happened in this football game and the time of possession used by Stony Brook, they're still only down 14-0. One score, they're back in this football game. So this is a talented offense, and look for Villanova to keep picking away at this Stony Brook defense.
This is complete to Poppy Livers here. Livers forced out after the catch, but looks like that's going to be a Villanova first down. Not quite, maybe about half a yard short. Ball spotted just ahead of the 28-yard line, so it's 3rd and 1 for Villanova.
Again, Villanova, the type of offense, a spread offense, a situation here where you'd love to have a fullback, somebody in here to pick up this yardage, and again, they'll go with no running back in the backfield with the quarterback.
Now Robertson will keep it. He will get a first down and a little bit more, almost out to the 35-yard line. So good blocking up front and good mobility from Robertson, the freshman, to move the chains.
Yeah, a lot of patience by Robertson that time. But that play fake, he just stays low, tries to hide behind those big offensive linemen, and he knows where the first down marker is. He needed to get what he needed to pick up, but I like the way he stays low and tries to hide behind those big guys.
2 minutes in this first half of football left for Villanova. Trying to get some points against Stony Brook. Little play fake, and now he's got to roll out. And he is looking downfield, and he will unload to nobody. That was a big challenge for Villanova. Ohio State with a win today. The Notre Dame USC game coming up tonight. So something for everybody in the college football atmosphere. And the FCS playoffs are running now too, with first round action today. Timeout with 1:45 left in this first half. And again, John, you made the point just a minute ago. Things don't look great for Villanova right now, but by no stretch of the imagination is this game out of reach for them.
No, they're a team that's had a lot of success offensively this year. You're talking about an offense that's averaging 434 yards of offense in a football game. So they know how to move the ball down the field. You don't win the CAA, get into this playoffs without having the success that they've had.
Let's look at Villanova and the CAA success that has been in this conference that Villanova plays in. 7 of the last 9 D1 national championships have included a CAA team. So Villanova can say they're part of that select group. And there is good football all up and down in this conference, John.
No question about it. It used to be the Southern Conference, and you're talking about different conference. This has evolved into a tremendous conference, and people argue, they'll say, well, they're the SEC of the FCS.
2nd and 10. This is Medley again, getting another first down for Villanova to the 45-yard line. Tackle by Dominic Reyes, but Medley not as, a little bit bigger actually than Kevin Monangai, but he's got more speed as well, so he's a versatile running back for them. This is Monangai, who will get swarmed over by a bunch of black and red jerseys. Victor Ochi, the leading tackler in that group.
Well, the one thing about this Stony Brook defense is they can run in a number of players. They can go deep up front with 8 players that they'll run in and out, and they're well rested on that sideline as much as their offense holds the football, so they can take the time to do that. And you can tell they look very fresh out there.
And let's roll into some scores from other games in the FCS world. We have South Dakota State, the 2-touchdown lead in the second quarter of that game. How about Coastal Carolina, a 17-0 second half lead against Bethune-Cookman in the Wagner game, a win for them over Colgate at home. So Wagner punching their ticket to advance to the second round. And a lot of teams watching today. The teams that with the highest seeds are on the bye. They'll be hosting games next weekend. Here's the other bracket as we look at the South Dakota State Eastern Illinois game in progress. And there's the higher seeds, North Dakota State, waiting for next Saturday's game, and the other ones as well. 2nd and 11. And pressure coming on Robertson, and he's going to roll and throw out of bounds again. John, we got to give some props to this Stony Brook defense. They have held a productive Wildcat offense to not a whole lot of productivity in this first half.
Yeah, and you look at the speed that time of Victor Ochi as he's out there trying to run down a quarterback at 6'2", 250 pounds, a redshirt freshman. That's the one thing I think that's surprising about the Stony Brook defense is how fast they are.
So Andy Telly hoping there's some late first half magic for his Villanova offense. 3rd and 11 at the 44. Robertson, a little bit of pressure and a throw and complete. This is Norman White who gets the Villanova first down. A good route in the middle, and the Wildcats keep on rolling.
Well, no surprise they find Norman White. We talked about this combination, how effective they are. One problem this time is Norman White lost his shoe, had to come off the football field after this play, and Villanova in a hurry-up offense right now.
Ball spotted at the Stony Brook 37. And now he's going to run, and this is a good opportunity, but a flag is thrown as Robertson gets down to about the 20. But the flag is way back near the line of scrimmage. This might come back. Taj Johnson on the tackle, but you can see the hold call from a referee, Donald Leathers.
Yeah, and he's going to get Kowalski. You can see him right there. Vince Kowalski, number 76, the left tackle. That time out in the outside, and boy, the quarterback, Robertson, takes a big hit at the end of that play, and that's the last thing you want after taking a big hit, having the play called back and not even get anything for that effort.
They don't work with him on sliding too much, I wouldn't think.
No.
They might now starting next week if they advance into the second round. This is 1st and 20 after the penalty. Robertson's trying to run again. This time he gets taken down early. Another flag is thrown. And again, the secondary coverage excellent. Leston Simpson makes the tackle. Another holding for Villanova. So this is headed in the wrong direction for the Wildcats.
And this time I think they've got the left guard this time, Josh Bucci. If I can read the lips of our referee correctly, I think he said number 75 that time. So the left side having a little bit of problems right now.
Penalties very much one-sided against the Wildcats. So now it's 1st and 30. Ball all the way back at the 47-yard line. Sorry, the 43-yard line of Villanova. Nice little screen underneath. And it's Austin Medley on the catch, but stepped out before the play really unfolded. Kevin Howder on the stop, but it does stop the second quarter game clock with 18 seconds left.
You know, the big question with Stony Brook changing conferences and moving out of the Big South Conference to the CAA is the speed and the success that the CAA has. How much faster will that conference be? When you look at this matchup today, so far, Stony Brook looks a little bit faster on the football team than this Villanova team does.
Second down and 28. Robertson sliding out of the pocket, and he'll move out of bounds with 10 seconds left. Well, I'll tell you, the way the secondary has been covering deep for Stony Brook, it is just not giving Robertson many options in the passing game.
No, and again, we mentioned they don't blitz a whole lot, so they've got guys back there to cover. They'll play a zone defense and force somebody to try to get open, but they've been able to work in a kind of a zone blitz here and there and really have put a lot of pressure on Robertson, the quarterback, and he hasn't been able to go anywhere with the football.
He's run the football well, 6 carries for 43 yards. Stony Brook takes a timeout to collect themselves defensively. And let's look at this Colonial Athletic Association as a group. Again, here's who's in the league currently. Again, a lot of good teams in that mix.
And you look at Old Dominion, team that actually was 7-1 in the conference this year and was not eligible for the conference championship.
And here's the transition with teams moving in and out. This is who's going away after this year. Old Dominion moves to Conference USA, Georgia State in the Sun Belt. Moving up to the FBS, and here's who's coming in. Stony Brook and Albany in the CAA again. That's next season. Pass intercepted near midfield. Devontae Anderson will end that Villanova drive with a easy pickoff, and the Wildcats will go into this locker room scoreless.
And Devontae Anderson that time really just almost baited the quarterback, and he's got experience. That's his 4th interception on the year, now his 10th of the career. When you have 10 interceptions in your career, you know you're a ball hawk and you're going to find it some way, and he read the quarterback's eyes the entire way.
So Stony Brook's defense ending the first half on a high note, and the Seawolves will lead 14-0 as they head to the halftime locker room here at Laval Stadium. 2 rushing touchdowns from Miguel Masonette. And that's where we're at here, 14-0, and big time of possession advantage for the Seawolves. Halftime when we come back here to Stony Brook on Long Island. Manage this Stony Brook offense. And the Seawolves will start the second half with the football. Masonette is the deep return man, standing at his own 5-yard line. The wind remains extremely strong here on Long Island. The sun is a non-factor, and that is a cold, strong wind. So staying warm is going to be a challenge. And the kickoff off the toe of Chris Guff. And Masonette drops it at the 10. Now he spins and gets out to about the 13-yard line. So not a dramatic return for Stony Brook. But the ball control offense has dictated that they don't need a passing game. And the 14-0 lead will put them in a little bit of a comfort zone here to start this third quarter. And they've got the football at their own 13-yard line. Negron with limited passing attempts in the first half. He'll hand off to Masonette on first down, who Gets a little bit beyond the line of scrimmage, but not much, maybe to the 17-yard line. Tackled by Dylan Lucas.
Now again, Stony Brook comes out just like they ended the first half. 3 tight ends, just one wide receiver in this, and that's only have 1 or 2 guys in a route, and they use max protection. And that's how they've protected Kyle Essington all year, and that's how exactly they will do for Lyle Negron if he's forced to throw the football.
And now the Stony Brook Seawolves go to their Wildcat offense. Masonette did it once before, he'll do it now, and look at this explosion run up to about the 30-yard line, easily a first down pickup, tackled by Craig James.
Boy, you mentioned the word easily. It almost seems like this Stony Brook team could go pure Wildcat type of offense in this situation right here, not having a quarterback with a lot of experience, and boy, it just gives them another dimension to this offense as they continue to show different types of formations with multiple personnel.
Ball at the 29-yard line on this 1st and 10. Coker's going to try to run and get outside, and he is beyond the 35 to about the 38. Antoine Lewis on the tackle.
And Marcus Coker that time being able to bounce the ball to the outside, nowhere to go on the inside, but he follows his blockers. And again, first half we talked an awful lot about this offensive line and how they get upfield and make blocks, and that time same situation, following their guards. If they miss a guy to the inside, they don't stop and turn and get him. They go find somebody else in a white shirt.
2nd and 1 at the 38-yard line, and Coker's going to get this touch and get a first down and then some. Still pushing towards midfield, finally brought down by a swarm of white jerseys. But boy, if Masonette can't stop you or can't get the yardage for you, then they've got Coker right behind him. What a tough combination. That's Stony Brook's first drive that chewed up almost the entire first quarter.
21 plays. Again, only 3 pass attempts on the day for this Stony Brook team right now. They've had to do nothing but just let that ground game work for them.
Ball right in midfield for the Seawolves. And the run around the end for Masonette. Ronnie Akins on the tackle. Masonette and Coker combining for almost 200 yards rushing. And for Lyle, he's not too worried about his passing numbers today.
No, let's just get the team to the end zone some way. His first attempt on the day had a bootleg almost out of his end zone. Not afraid to throw it down there, but he completed that first ball, but hasn't have to do nothing much but manage this football game. Turn around, hand the ball off to those talented backs behind that very good offensive line.
Handoff again. Around the end, this is Masonette. He gets taken down at about the 40 by Craig James, and this drive looks a whole lot like what Stony Brook rolled out on their first possession. Football on the ground with their premier rushers advancing it towards the other team's end zone. So 3rd and less than a yard.
You almost get this feeling this is like 4-down territory for them all the time, knowing how effective their run game is, that if they don't pick it up here, they're not afraid to go for it again.
3rd and short. The handoff and good tackling, but the pile moves ahead. Dylan Lucas on the stop, but Coker on the carry for what looks to be a first down pickup for Stony Brook.
Here's the power running of Coker. His ability to move a pile, some of that strength is why he went to Iowa out of his high school career and had all the success he had in that league before moving over here.
He had two guys that had shots at him, and they both came up empty. Ball at the 39 on 1st and 10. Masonette, nope, Coker. Changing directions and fumbles the football. It looks like it's still in bounds. Villanova's got it. Just about to say, ball control has been very good for Stony Brook. Ronnie Aikens on the recovery. And finally, something for Villanova to get fired up about.
Absolutely. That could be a game changer for them. You never know. And something big has to happen defensively to maybe get a spark to this offense and see if Villanova comes out here quickly with a quick change and tries to go up top and get a quick score right here. See the white shirts right there. Second effort, they hold Coker up and ripping the football out. That was Craig James doing that. That's what you want to do, tack that football. Now a big opportunity for Villanova.
And they kept it inbounds. Here's the throw by Robertson on 1st down, and it is complete to Joe Price for a big pickup. And Villanova's offense has big play potential. There were flashes of it in the first half. Dan Mulrooney makes the tackle. But again, the bottom line is they need to get some points and get the ball in the end zone.
Yeah, if you think back to that first possession, Joe Price dropped a pass, a dig pass across the middle. He was wide open. The ball was slightly on his back shoulder. He wasn't able to come up with it. So,
and here's a quarterback keep for Robertson, who navigates inside the 30. That is an almost Villanova 1st down. In fact, given where they spot the ball, he will have a 1st down. Bryce Brantley on the tackle, and Villanova looking like they're ready to get back in this football game.
Looks like maybe they had a little talking to at halftime in that locker room about, moving the ball a little bit quicker, trying to do some things faster. But again, that defensive turnover they were able to create will do so much for this offense.
This is Menangai. A little bit up the middle, not much.
As an offense, you sit on the sidelines and you know that defense is just going to be out there, and Stony Brook can grind up the clock a little bit. You just don't know when that next opportunity is going to come from an offensive standpoint. So you kind of, for sake of a better word, fall asleep on the sideline, just not anticipating when you're going to go out there. So if you're not creating turnovers and teams are driving on you, it's demoralizing for the offense.
Villanova trying to rally from a 2-touchdown deficit here in the first round of the FCS playoffs. On the road in Long Island, and a timeout taken by the Wildcats. So we'll take a timeout here at Stony Brook. The Seawolves leading 14-0. More third quarter football when we come back. Villanova trying to cash in after the Stony Brook fumble. And again, the wind is very, very strong here on Long Island today. And they're going to get jumbled up and brought down as Robertson tried to keep that. Instead, he handed it off to Menangai, but just not enough space for them to work in.
No, and that's exactly what you need in that read offense. You need that veer type read. As a quarterback, you want to get that spacing so you can read exactly what's going on, but the penetration is actually killing that. Breaking it up, not having an opportunity for the quarterback to pull the football. Both guys, whether it's the defensive end or the front nose tackle, are doing a nice job of penetrating and breaking all of that up.
So it brings up 3rd down and 6 at the Seawolves 24. Robertson's going to throw, and he's going in the end zone, incomplete. He wanted his number 1 wideout, Norman White, but ball was thrown behind him, not catchable. Taj Johnson was in the secondary for coverage. And it brings up 4th down and 6. Mark Hamilton on for what would be about a 41-yard field goal. And that is just about the limit of his range. And he puts that one through to get Villanova on the board. A field goal after the turnover. And you bet that's got Andy Talley in a good mood. 14-3, Stony Brook leads They'll have the football when we continue. Villanova finally breaks through with a field goal. 41-yarder to make it a 14-3 game. Here's the view from field level. And we should reference, John, that the wind that is kicking around here on Long Island, it is not a warm summer breeze.
No.
It is not a cool summer breeze. It is a cold November wind. And kudos to the fans that are out here supporting Stony Brook in this first round FCS playoff game. It is not comfortable.
Absolutely not. You're right. I mean, give them a lot of credit sitting out there. They're all bundled up. Our camera guys out there, give them a lot of credit. Anybody out there having to work into this, it's crazy.
Masonette will bring it out of the end zone for a return for Stony Brook. And he comes out to the 22-yard line. And let the record show, I wanted to open the windows here in this press box, but John forgot his gloves and his winter coat, so yeah, we had to keep them closed.
And look at the smiles all around in here because of that.
A lot of smiles on that Stony Brook sideline, but Villanova not content to let the Seawolves go easily into the second round. See if the Seawolves will crank up the running game again here on 1st and 10 at the 22. No, they're going to throw, and they go far side on the wide side, in a catch and yardage after the catch out of bounds. That's Kevin Norrell, forced out by Joe Sarnes.
Well, the one thing this is going to do, you've got Villanova's attention running the football to the inside. Just step up, throw it to the outside. If you don't pick up a yard on that thing, what it still does is try at least get in Villanova's mind that you're going to throw the ball. The possibility of doing that kind of spreads out that defense a little bit more and just opens up the run holes.
Norrell gets around Eric Loper to pick up the first down. They're at the 33-yard line. And here's a rollout and a straight run, a little toss into the flat, and a good catch. And it's beyond midfield as Stony Brook surprising and shaking things up quite a bit. An easy pass and catch to Chris Fenelon. That's not an easy throw.
Not an easy throw. A young quarterback, as you mentioned, not a lot of experience in there, but get him to the outside, get the guy in front of you. Fullback / tight end, got great size. He's going to finish this run off, and now Stony Brook seeming to open things up a little bit. Haven't had success in the last couple series, so now they're going to try to spread Villanova out a little bit and make it easier to run the football.
Ball at the 47-yard line. And here's Coker running with a lot of room inside. Still pushing to the 37. And boy, the one thing Villanova was really hoping for after the Ronnie Aikens tackle, they were hoping their defense could kind of keep it going, but Stony Brook's got some other intentions.
They do, and it's amazing how the pass game and run game work off of each other, especially in this type of offense when you're a play-action type of football team. If you're having success running the ball, certainly play action's a lot more easy, and if you're able to use that play action, that'll certainly open up the run game. So a great combination when all things are working together. 2nd
and 1 from the 38. And Coker's going to go again, this time a little bit of a delay, and then he plows ahead to the 35-yard line. Antoine Lewis on the tackle. Clock stopped with 6:02 left here.
You mentioned a little delay there. That's nice running by Coker. As he saw that guy coming across, he kind of just waited for that hole a little bit. Knew the yardage he needed to get right there. Was just trying to pick up a yard or two. He wasn't trying to break a touchdown, but he knew what he needed to do. Took his time and picked up that yard.
So the ball at the 35-yard line. Seawolves working with a fresh set of downs. And here's Masonette. And a flag coming from the secondary. Joey Harmon on the stop. Mike Lisi, the center, on that hold. And that brings Stony Brook back to the Wildcats' 45-yard line.
Now, the one thing that this Stony Brook team wishes they could be a little bit better at are penalties. 8.9 penalties a game they were last in the Big South Conference from a penalty standpoint. They get better at that. They've been very successful this game. That's their first penalty that I can remember.
So 1st and 20. And the handoff is to Masonette, who gets an explosion run here inside the 30, still going to the 20. And that is a first down pickup for the Stony Brook Seawolves. What a great run. 25 yards. 2 tacklers to wrap up Masonette, James and McCurry, but they didn't do it early enough.
No, and I'll say it again, and I hate to keep saying this and sound like a broken record, but the 2 offensive linemen, again, out front. You can see it there. That time, Mike Lacey making up for the hole call, getting out there, and again, extending the run for the running back, and just big bodies on small bodies out on that corner. It's a mismatch all the time that Stony Brook's able to get.
This is Masonette again, and he is met at about the 17-yard line by Antoine Lewis. Masonette's numbers, awesome. 17 carries, 145 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Tell you, John, watching him run, he gets to a high gear very quickly.
Yeah, he's got that extra gear that those great running backs have, and that's why this kid's going to play at the next level. NFL scouts talk with assistant coaches here, and they said he's definitely an NFL guy, and they're looking forward to watching him play on Sundays.
From the 17-yard line, this is Coker, and that's good for maybe a 1 or 2 yards.
Every year, you go through this tournament and you get to the final game, and it's guys like that, those difference makers, have that little bit of speed, and you saw that on Villanova when they won their championship. Those guys just have the ability to find a way to get through the holes, and whether it's not there or not, they get that extra effort, and that's what's going to win championships for you.
Lyle Negron under center, in for Kyle Essington. The starting QB out with a leg contusion, and he's going to hold it. And now he'll slip and fall forward, but they say he was down back at about the 20-yard line. That was a good fake, but it didn't develop into anything after he lost his balance.
Well, we mentioned they like to go with 3 tight ends. That time they only had 2 guys in the route. Nowhere he goes with the football. He slips here, and his kind of wrist and elbow touch the ground. They call him down. Good call by the referee there, but only 2 guys in the route that time. Both well covered, nowhere to go with the football, and instead of just throwing it away, Negron takes the sack.
So a field goal opportunity here for Wes Skiffington. And he is kicking with the wind, and it is good. Not an easy kick with the wind running east-west here at Stony Brook, but they get the score and they lead by 14 here in this 3rd quarter. So a short kickoff. Stony Brook able to get things rolling and recover the football after it was mishandled by Villanova. Named Cheesebro is the one who stepped up and got that football. Boy, just a free ball opportunity there in Stony Brook.
Yeah, we saw it on the field goal attempt, how the ball looked like it clearly was going to clear the goalpost and just barely did it. That wind blowing in that direction and playing tricks on those receivers out there, and you got to attack that ball. You just have to understand which way the wind's going, and it's even picked up more right now, and it's gusting out there and really affected the football that time.
So the ball's at the 25-yard line. Masonette pushing it hard right up the middle inside the 20. You know, one thing, John, people don't understand so much about cold weather football is how hard the ball can get.
Yes.
Any cushion or squeezability is just gone when you're in weather like this.
And the other thing is how slick it becomes at that time, too. And some of the guys with longer sleeves on or whatever. But that's why you see a lot of guys wearing gloves, and even quarterbacks these days wearing gloves, because it has that little bit of tackiness to it that's able to hold on to the football a little bit better.
Masonette still fighting for yardage to the 15-yard line for a gain of about 2. And that is a big-time rally killer if you're Villanova. You think you're getting the football back. You're trying to answer the field goal, and now it's good field position for a Stony Brook team that is running the football very well.
Yeah, and they start going in here and using up the clock. They can continue to, you can see play clock under 10 seconds every time they go to snap the football. Quite different than a lot of teams around the country, but effective for them.
3rd and 2. And Coker plows ahead for what looks to be another Stony Brook first down. Let's reset our weather conditions here at Stony Brook. 42 degrees right now, and the sun is off behind the clouds, but the wind is kicking at about 20 miles an hour. And it is very much tangible here at Laval Stadium. 1st and 10 from the 13. This may be our last play in the 3rd quarter. Handoff is to Coker, who cannot get, stays up, but is brought down right at about the 13-yard line by Joe Sarnice. So Villanova trying to hang on here, but our 3rd quarter is going to come to a close with a 17-3 lead for the Stony Brook Seawolves. FCS 4th quarter football when we come back to Stony Brook on Long Island. 4th quarter football here on Long Island. And Lyle DeGrone is ready to maybe get another score here for Stony Brook. Villanova's only points came in this second half on the field goal, and boy, that mishandled kickoff is looming very, very large right now. Donnell Leathers is the referee tonight. He said, did I hear him right? It's under review? What's under review?
I'm not exactly sure right now. Maybe they've lost.
Okay, so kind of a non-football related item. A technical issue for the officials, and they'll get that straightened out. And it's going to be 2nd and 9. Well, from the 12-yard line for Stony Brook. Boy, the wind started strong here early in Stony Brook. It hasn't slowed down one bit. Masonette's numbers: 20 carries, 157 yards, 2 touchdowns. The longest was 47 yards. So now we're ready for football here. With a 17-3 advantage for Stony Brook, a win puts them in the 2nd round of the FCS playoffs. Masonette waits for a block, but doesn't get a whole lot.
Masonette on the carry. Harmon with the stop.
Joey Harmon on the tackle. helped by Marlon Johnson.
And that's one of the first times we've seen Villanova be able to get that penetration off the edge that forced the running back to the middle of the field where they've had the support from the linebackers and things, but we have just not seen that type of penetration for this defensive football team all night.
Ball at the 14-yard line, 3rd and 11 for the Seawolves. And now the officials stop play again. Timeout. Taken by Stony Brook. So we'll break here in Long Island. A 4th quarter lead for the Stony Brook Seawolves. Welcome back to Stony Brook. The Seawolves and their offensive game plan, John, went a little bit off the rails. Kyle Essington, that left leg contusion, keeps him on the bench. Lyle DeGrone, the junior, coming in. Here's the running back numbers that have really caused so many problems for Villanova. Again, that's almost 250 yards between those two backs. And Masonette has the 2 rushing touchdowns. And with a 3rd and 10 looming right now for Stony Brook, they are in a prime position to get some more points here on Villanova. Masonette gets the touch, and he falls ahead to about the 12-yard line. And here's Kyle Essington's numbers. Again, one of the most productive quarterbacks in this league. But again, the injured leg last week. John, what do you make of those numbers?
Well, we talked about it. He's leading the FCS in the nation in passing efficiency. So he's efficient with the football. Without him in here tonight, that even says more about this running game and how good this front is for this Stony Brook offense.
Skippington will attempt a 29-yard field goal. And wind is a non-factor in that kick, and it is good. And Stony Brook pads their lead 20-3. And the hole for Villanova just got a little bit deeper. FCS playoffs beginning today. Some teams playing, some teams watching. The winner of this game is going to play Montana State next Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Here's our brackets. The other bracket with Coastal Carolina and Bethune-Cookman. Coastal Carolina had a lead in that game in the second half. The other game that's ongoing besides this one, Eastern Illinois and South Dakota State. And again, it's the teams on the right that are waiting for second round next weekend. Final with Wagner beating Colgate. And Wagner's already going to Eastern Washington for their second round FCS playoff game. The other ones are wide open, but again, the winner of this one is headed west to Montana State.
And what an advantage, as you mentioned before, those teams that get a bye, an opportunity to sit back, get a little bit more healthy.
Javon White is set to return deep for Villanova. Wildcats had the field goal to make it a 14-3 game, but since it's been a couple of Skillington field goals to pad Stony Brook's lead here now with a lot of time left in our fourth quarter, but Villanova is going to have to put a little more into their offensive output. And that kick is going to go out of bounds, not returned. And John Robertson's going to bring the Villanova offense out. And again, Monangai is maybe the premier threat on offense for them offensively, but now they're going to have to try to figure out a way to maybe get some points in a hurry.
Yeah, and you're looking at it at the end of the third quarter, Monangai just 27 yards rushing on the day, just 20 yards net. So the Stony Brook defense done a nice job of bottling him up, hasn't been able to get that big play that he's able to make.
Robertson to throw on first down, and he's going deep And too far downfield for Norman White. White was contesting that there was a little too much contact, but no flag is thrown.
Got a little smile on his face, maybe just trying to act a little bit. I didn't necessarily see the pass interference, but if I'm this Villanova offense, I'm going to try to find Norman White. He's a difference maker on this team, and they got to get back in the game in a hurry. At 6'4", he's easy to find on the football field. You just got to find a way to get him the football.
Second down from the 25. Robertson's got a little time, and now he's going down. Big time pressure from Stony Brook. Kevin Howder with a no doubt about it sack, and it's a big loss of yardage for Villanova.
Villanova that time sent all 4 receivers deep down the field. They had one guy crossing down the middle, and you need an awful lot of time as a quarterback to be able to try to find one of those guys downfield. They did a great job of coverage. They had 2 deep coverage. It came off the hash with the cornerback. Nowhere to go with the football for Robertson.
So they lose 7 yards. It's 3rd and 17. Robertson throws at a nice crossing route, and it's complete to Joe Price, but it is not enough for a Wildcat first down.
Price a few times today has made some catches across the field here. A little bit more time to throw the football this time, and when Robertson has time, he can deliver a strike to those receivers. And surprising, Villanova has really tried to stick with the run tonight and hasn't tried to open it up a little bit more, getting the ball down the field, but they're going to be forced to do that here as now there's just 12 minutes left to go in this football game.
Christian Ricard makes the tackle that denies Villanova the first down, and it's 4th and 4. And a timeout taken by Villanova. 4th quarter football when we come back to Stony Brook. The Sea Wolves a comfortable 4th quarter lead on ball here at Stony Brook. And it is getting down to crunch time now for the Villanova Wildcats. Dan Gutowski with John Gregory here. The FCS playoffs opening weekend. And Stony Brook was a winner here on this turf last year, John, in the opening round. This game not quite as exciting. They had to come back last year to win, but Villanova hoping that they can make things more interesting, and they're going to line up and go for it here on this 4th down and just 3 yards from their own 32. John Robertson's got nobody in the backfield. Now they reset. They'll try and pass for the first down, and the catch is dropped. Norman White had it, and that is a very disappointing 4th down attempt by Villanova. That would have been a first down.
Yeah, they got exactly what they wanted. A one-on-one coverage with Norman White. You can see him flash into your screen here. Had a kind of an inside-out move. Wide open, hit the ball right in his hands, and he wasn't able to come up with it.
We talked earlier about a cold football. Hard to squeeze, hard to grip the way you normally would. And the cold weather here on Long Island maybe causes some problems in the passing game. Here comes Stony Brook now, and good field position to boot. Here's Coker on first down. Tackle by Joey Harmon. Nothing flashy now for Stony Brook. They've been pretty unflashy all game. Run-oriented offense with the backup quarterback Lyle Negron filling in for Kyle Essington, who's out with a leg contusion. But it's all worked very effectively.
Yeah, Negron's job tonight is to get him to next week, if possible, anyway. And if that's turning around and handing the ball off 50 times this game, that's exactly what he's going to do.
They get 2 yards, and here's a handoff to Coker again. A little bit more push on the inside. Ball is inside the Villanova 30-yard line.
What happened was
You mentioned Stony Brook just going to use as much time as they possibly can. Still 28 seconds to go on the play clock, and they've been consistently all day letting that thing get down to under 10 seconds, 5 seconds to go before snapping the football, and they'll use every bit of it here.
This is a 3rd down and 6 from the Villanova 28-yard line. They're going to throw, and they're going to throw to no one. Well, miscommunication in the passing game. Kevin Norrell was the closest could have been receiver, but that ball had uncatchable the minute it left his fingertips.
And you can see them discuss that as they walk off the field. Earlier in the game, their first possession, they went to that same play and actually had the same result as Norrell turned to the inside, and Negron, the quarterback, thought he was going outside.
So Wesley Skiffington comes on for, this is a long kick for him, a 45-yarder. And he cannot put it through the uprights. A field goal miss. Again, that's a little bit further out than he normally goes. And Villanova will get the football back, and having avoided not giving up more points. A timeout here at Stony Brook. More when we continue. Villanova football, and they throw incomplete on that far side, just short of the 40-yard line. Poppy Livers on that catch. Villanova in hurry-up mode on offense. Football at the 39-yard line. Wildcats got to get some giddy-up in their offense. And Robertson's going to keep, and he will get swarmed and taken down and pulled back to the 39-yard line. Let's see where they mark that football, though. They'll move it up to beyond the 40 at the 42.
Victor Ochi that time again on the inside. Nowhere to run the football. They've just bottled everything up to the inside. Any success Villanova's had has been outside today.
2nd and 7, pressure coming. Smart decision with Dorian Wells trying to catch that football, but he was out of bounds, and that play goes incomplete. Brings up 3rd down and 6. Clock stops, which is obviously a boost for the Wildcats, but they're going to have to keep on chugging. Robertson had a lot of time and hits his open receiver on the near side. Tough catch on the near side for Joe Price, but it's good for a Villanova 1st down.
Well, long throw from the wide side of the field this time. And again, Price making a nice play. He knew where that yardage was and did everything he could to fight to try to pick up that 1st down, and Villanova gets it and stays alive.
Ball spotted at midfield. There's a hard pass and a good catch again. This is Poppy Livers. Tough one. Hard throw in traffic. Villanova still trying to mix it up here. Ball on the 39-yard line.
Not an easy catch. He had to reach back for that football that time. That one got away from Robertson a little bit, but he was able to come down with it and make another big play for this Villanova offense.
He beats the pressure and completes to White. White gets forced back. That's a very short gain for Villanova. And he stays in bounds, and the clock keeps rolling.
You know, White this time, you can see him doing the same thing, catching the ball with his hands. I don't know if he was wearing gloves earlier in this football game or not. You mentioned it. The slick football on a cold night like this. That time he comes out with gloves on. Again, not sure if he had them on earlier, but it could have been a factor.
2nd and 7. Robertson eludes some pressure, and now he's going to run. And a good open field tackle there. Stony Brook able to keep that play from developing further. Christian Ricard is the tackler, and we've seen Robertson not blessed with great speed, but again, he's able to make some good things happen with his feet.
Yeah, Ricard, again, a nice open field tackle. He was trying to be blocked by Norman White. The wide receiver that time was able to fight him off, and that may have stopped a big play.
Medley on the handoff, and he will get a Villanova first down on that 3rd and 1. Now, looking at that graphic, it's pretty hard to figure out there's a play in that.
Tells me I want to go to Wawa and get a sandwich.
So 1st and 10 at the 28. Robertson throws and completes to White near side. Sorry, that's not White on the catch. That's Clay Horn. Tackled by Grant Nakwasa. So Villanova trying to spice this game up a little bit and see if they can get their first touchdown here. 2nd and 4 from the 21-yard line. Quarterback keep. Smart decision by Robertson, who's going to get the touchdown. Again, he doesn't need speed, but he had good blocking, and the middle of the field was wide open.
Yeah, we mentioned they do not blitz a lot. We're talking about Stony Brook's defense not blitzing a lot that time. Moved their linebackers out. They looked like they were going to come, and when they did that, nobody to stop the quarterback at the next level, and Robertson just walks into the end zone that time, and he read that all the way.
So the extra point attempt for Villanova. They try to keep this game somewhat manageable if extra point is good. Well, the upside for Stony Brook is it's still a 2-score game, but they lead here. First round action of the FCS playoffs in Stony Brook. Villanova gets their first touchdown in this football game, but they need more, trailing Stony Brook by 10 here at Laval Stadium. 6:57 left to go. Let's go back to the 3rd quarter at a play that seems like it's fairly routine. Normal kickoff. The ball is hung up in the wind, John, and look at what happens.
Yeah, wind played a big factor there as it actually blew the football back towards Stony Brook's defense, and the receiver there on the kickoff return team did not charge it enough, and it was a free ball, and Stony Brook comes up with it. Instead of a 1-possession game now, it's a 2-possession game.
And that's where it stands now. So there's the numbers on the scoring drive. John Robertson finishing with the 21-yard run to the end zone. Well, it's up to Stony Brook to try to continue the ball now. Is Villanova going to try and maybe try an onside kick here?
Well, Stony Brook is positioned to think that they're going to do that here.
And it's a short kick caught at the 34-yard line. So Masonette catches it. And it's on the field for Lyle Negron and the Stony Brook offense.
And that's a good piece of coaching right there. You put a guy in the up position there that's been handling the football all night long in Masonette, a guy that's nice and warm, ready to attack a football, and he just makes a fair catch and now puts Stony Brook in a position to try to chew up this clock.
Ball at the 34-yard line. Stony Brook ready to take a whole lot of game clock out of this 4th quarter as Masonette carries on first down.
And as a young quarterback here, the one thing you learn as you get older and older in these football games is you want to turn around to your running backs here and say, hold on to the football. It's one of those nights where the ball becomes pretty slick, so Negron, he's been in this situation before. He's a junior, played plenty of junior college football. You got to tell your guys to hold on to the football. Turnover will kill you here.
And if you're Villanova, you're thinking, well, could we get an interception? Problem is, the Grown has no reason to throw the football, and they haven't needed to the way their rushing game has been so good. And that play turns into a bust, and the Grown is going to get taken down. Ronnie Aikens on the tackle.
And again, you know, that's the second time we've seen that late in the football game in Villanova. That time as he was going to the ground, they were trying to rip the football out, doing exactly what they should do. It's a kind of a mental mistake, and you can turn the football over easily. Once you make that mental mistake and turn the wrong direction, then you don't think about holding on to the football. So dangerous situation for Stony Brook there.
So 3rd and 6 is looming here for Stony Brook at the 38-yard line. Villanova very anxious to get the football back. All of Villanova's offense came in the second half after Stony Brook had 2 Miguel Masonette touchdown runs before halftime.
Going to be in no hurry to snap the football. He's looking at the play clock, 22 seconds to go on the play clock, so this will be under 5 minutes to go in the game when he snaps this football. He's just staring right at it.
Smart decision by Lyle. And they will hand off to Masonette, who gets a big push towards the first down marker, maybe a yard or two short. Time of possession, we saw early in that first quarter that Stony Brook was going to win that battle, and they've held on to that advantage. They held on to that football for like 12 and a half minutes of that first quarter.
Yeah, doubling somebody up, that, you know, that's basically the bottom line of the football game. You just keep playing, keep away from this Villanova offense, and that's what Stony Brook has done all night long, and it's been effective doing that. And again, the keys for them, they've picked up the 3rd down conversions on the night, and they've picked up their 4th down conversion that they needed to get.
We talked about Andy Talley earlier and what a great program of football he's had at Villanova, but he is involved in a much bigger and maybe more important enterprise. The Get in the Game and Save a Life organization is orchestrated to help register people to be potential donors. It's part of the National Blood Marrow Donor Program. It works in conjunction with the National Marrow Donor Program. And there's the website, www.marrow.org. And John, he has a very broad initiative to try to recruit more people to donate blood marrow.
Yeah, and it's such a passion for him, and they've had a lot of success doing that around the country, and many other teams are involved in this, and college coaches have really gotten their teams involved all across the country.
And we certainly support his efforts to create awareness that way. And we hope that continues throughout the course of his time invested in that organization. Punt goes in the end zone.
You know, what a great cause. As you mentioned, 1 in 80,000 or a match from a marrow standpoint. And good example, University of Virginia, Mike London, his first year there at that program, he made it well known that he's going to have his entire team part of that program. And that's something that they did. He had every one of his players test for it, and Mike London, it affected his life. He was a bone marrow donor, and he actually had a match for his daughter that came down with a rare disease, so it's a passion for him as well.
Robertson's pass is incomplete, intended for Norman White. And 4.5 minutes left for the Stony Brook Seawolves as they try to make their move into the FCS playoffs second round. They would play at Montana State a week from today. Robertson unloading before he gets sacked. Stony Brook pressure by Kevin Howder.
Robertson originally wanted to go, thought he was going to run the football. Again, that closed on him quickly, and Again, the speed of this Stony Brook defense has been impressive all night. They've been impressive all year defensively, and it's really standing out tonight how quick this defense is.
3rd down and 10 from the 20. Taking some plays from the sidelines here on a very important 3rd down. Robertson throws a ball that is tipped and intercepted. And the Seawolves have a chance to return it. Devontae Anderson off the deflection. A ball that was hard to catch. It was well thrown, but again, a cold football is tough to handle.
Well, right place at the right time. Mentioned it earlier. Devontae Anderson, that time his 2nd interception of the football game. Now his 11th of his career. We said earlier, if you find a guy with 10 interceptions, you're going to find a guy that knows how to get his nose in there. Boy, nice hands on his part to be able to come down with that ball, and that's why he's had success in his career.
Dorian Wells was the intended receiver, didn't have quite enough to stretch and catch that ball. Four minutes and 15 seconds left in this game. Ball at the 17 for Masonette, who is going to get gang tackled and pushed back beyond the 20.
And no surprise what they're going to do. They're just going to line up in an I formation, maybe not have a fullback in there, and just still turn around, give it to their #1 guy, and have him hold on to the football. Now they bring Coker into the lineup and see if he can't pound it a little bit, go get both hands on the ball.
Villanova's burned through all their timeouts, so they are hard-pressed to stop this clock from working against them. Ball at the 17 on 2nd down and 10. And here's Coker in the middle, falling ahead for some yardage. The season comes down to one game as Showdown Saturday on ABC concludes with Monte Teo and #1 Notre Dame looking to clinch a spot in the national championship game and cap off their first undefeated regular season in 24 years against historic rival USC in the Coliseum. Saturday Night Football presented by Windows 8. #1 Notre Dame against USC. Part of Showdown Saturday, 8 o'clock Eastern and 5 o'clock Pacific on ABC. Hand off, the run wide is for Coker. The flag is thrown as Coker moves inside the 10 to about the 5, but this may not stand. Joey Harmon on the tackle. So the Seawolves get another shot at 3rd down. But the downs they don't care about. The game clock is all they are concerned with.
This is going to give Stony Brook another opportunity to run the clock here, and Villanova can't stop it, so they can, again, just run more time off.
Remember last year's FCS playoff game here at Stony Brook was filled with a second half comeback for the Seawolves. A late interception sealed up the win in the opening round, but their season ended the following weekend at Sam Houston State. This is 3rd and 15. And they don't come up with a whole lot of anything. Coker on the carry, but now the game clock at 2 minutes after the Matt McCann tackle. So Stony Brook is ready to move on to Montana State for 2nd round FCS playoff action a week from today.
And that'll certainly be a challenge for them out there. Montana State, the #3 seed in the tournament. Team that's been 10-1 on the year, so a lot of success out in that program. Team that has been there before and has a lot of experience. So Stony Brook again having to go on the road and play a team that's really been to the big time championships here.
The Bobcats, a Big Sky Conference team. Rob Ash is their head coach. So Bobcat Stadium will be rocking a week from today, but Stony Brook, again, the question mark for them would be, John, I guess, will Kyle Essington get healthy in time to play in that game? He sat out for today's game, the left leg contusion. Lyle LeGrone was very good in his absence, but yeah, Essington is going to be needed next Saturday.
Yeah, the big question is, can he go? They were able to keep it a secret this week, whether he was going to play or not. Nobody even knew anything about it except for just before this football game, but I guarantee you somebody out west knows about it right now.
And there's Kyle. Certainly a tough situation when your season could end today. Fortunately, there's another game coming for the Seawolves, but you want to be part of it. Senior from Chino Hills, California. He's not used to this kind of weather, I don't think. And they run on this 4th down, and again, getting the first down and isn't part of the game plan. And now things get a little chippy as they pull everybody off the pile. Stony Brook needs to just pull back. And the ball goes over on downs. And here's the Stony Brook setup for the next round of the FCS playoffs. Long trip to Montana State. 7 o'clock Eastern is that kickoff, as the brackets start to take shape now for round 2 a week from today. So the home teams prevail in this bracket. Wagner a winner. They go to Eastern Washington. And John Robertson at quarterback for Villanova, but they are up against it big time. Pressure on him, good throw, out of bounds, dropped by Norman White. He would have probably been out of bounds anyway.
Well, when you look at this ball game, and from the very beginning, the opening drive for Stony Brook, how they took control of this football game, and they didn't just do it on the offensive side. This defensive front has been tremendous. Secondary's played well and hasn't given up yards at all to a very powerful Villanova offense from the CAA, a conference that is known for the success that they've had in this tournament. Stony Brook moving into that conference next year has really kind of sent a message out there. We've got a pretty good football team. We're looking forward to coming and playing in that conference.
So Robertson gets bumped, and it brings up 3rd down and 10, ball at the 21-yard line. That ball a little bit too hot, intended for Poppy Livers. Villanova had a tough time getting their offense on track in the first half. Only 10 second half points. And the ground game combination. The double team of Miguel Masonette and Marcus Coker, with Kyle Essington having to watch from the sidelines. He hated not being out there, but will certainly take the result, as the Seawolves will live to play another day as John Robertson gets chased out of bounds.
Yeah, but that was a nice sign, I think, on the sidelines. That smile on his face looked like there was a coach there giving him a little hug, saying, well, we got another week for you. So if that's any indication, maybe he has an opportunity to come back and play next week.
Masonette numbers: 25 carries, 160 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And Coker with 29 carries for 107 yards. So the ground game delivered big time today for Stony Brook. Robertson rolling out, and he'll just head to the sideline with 46 seconds left.
Mason, you mentioned 160 yards, 156 was his average coming in, so I guess just an average day for him. Nice 156-yard average.
If we could all perform average at that level.
Yeah.
He is a Bear. And he is headed to Bear country. Do they have Bears near Montana State? They must, right? Robertson throws underneath to White. That's complete for a first down to the 49-yard line. Time of possession outrageously in favor of Stony Brook. Almost 40 minutes of the 60 minutes of football here this afternoon. We've seen Stony Brook with possession for that much time. Robertson's going to try to throw a home run ball. No, will keep it and run out of bounds at about the 48-yard line. Montana State knows who they'll get in the second round of the FCS playoffs. It's the team bundled up in red. Stony Brook and the Sea Wolves will head west. The journey continues for them a week from today. Robertson gets swarmed under and down he goes. Too much red and black in the Villanova backfield, and that's going to wrap this game up. Stony Brook advances out of the first round of the playoffs and into round number 2 today here as they knock off Villanova. John, they have a backup quarterback under center that might get you a little bit thrown off kilter, but John, this was a great win for Villanova.
You know, everybody stepped up and played great football for this offense tonight with a backup quarterback in there, so they should be proud of what they've done tonight.
Stony Brook a winner by 10 over Villanova, 20-10. For John Gregory and our entire production crew, I'm Dan Gutowski, as we say so long from Stony Brook.